Seems So Long to me is a dude, especially a young dude, trying to figure out if he wants to fall in love again, if he wants to explore romance, if he wants to be in a relationship with somebody. What's going on, everybody? Right on time for another ride on the Groove Line with your boy Chris Stevens. Hopefully, you all are doing well out there. It's Thursday, it's day number 4 in our Week of Wonder series. If you guys are just tuning in, Stevie Wonder's birthday was Wednesday, May 13th. We've been doing a series all week long on Stevie. And today, I said we were going to talk about love songs, but I just want to talk about one song in particular. We'll probably do a Stevie love song episode a little later on down the line. But I wanted to talk about something from Music of My Mind. Now, if you guys are not familiar, this album came out March 3rd, 1972. 54 years. And this was one of Stevie's creative bargaining chips when he had sort of broken contract with Motown and tried to renegotiate his contract. And Barry Gordy ended up paying to the tune of $13 million. $13 million in 1972 money is a lot of money. $13 million in 2026 money is a lot of money. But in 1972, that was a lot of money. But as it turned out for Barry, it would end up being a bargain. And because as Stevie would be going to become one of the greatest artists that we know of. But yeah, from Music in My Mind, I want to talk about Seem So Long because that song, from an autobiographical standpoint, if we're talking about Stevie's life at this point in time, it's a very poignant song because he's 21 years old, not quite 22. His marriage to Sarita Wright is on the rocks by this time. It's probably pretty much over because they were married in September of 1970, and then 16 months later they were divorced. So if my math is correct, yeah, around March of around March of 72, they were done. By the time this album came out, they were over as a married couple. They, of course, they would work together a little more over the years, but Seems So Long to me is a dude, especially a young dude, trying to figure out if he wants to fall in love again, if he wants to explore romance, if he wants to be in a relationship with somebody. Because I mean, it all starts off with, lady loved and lady cared and lady went away and left me all alone to suffer. And I feel it's not fair for me to fall in love. The truth is the real me you must uncover. That's him. The second part of that verse is him talking to the new woman. A woman that's like, if any woman's interested in Stevie at this point in time, 21, 22 years old, he's like, all right, so this is what it's going to take. I had this woman who loved me and then she left me all alone. And now I don't even know if I want to open myself up to another relationship again. And to feel like that at 21 is pretty heavy. I mean, when you look at the 70s, the early 70s especially, you're starting to have, these sexual revolution type things. People started watching adult movies in theaters, movie theaters. Yes, that was the thing. You had women uh using birth control, third wave, second wave feminism and all of that good stuff. They were, calling the shots a lot more now. So it was an interesting time to be 21, 22 years old, fresh out of a marriage, and then trying to figure out, okay, where do I go from here? And then, he goes on to say in the second verse, and I believe you're just like me and that you understand and you want me for your man to always love me. And so Stevie's like, all right, so now Stevie starts to see that, okay, so women can hurt as much as men can. And it's such a, oh my God, from a instrumental standpoint, of course, this is, the synth era Stevie. Stevie is firmly into his synth era, starting with Music of My Mind, because of course Bob Margouleff and Malcolm Cecil, who made up the Tonto band, had a wall to wall synthesizer. Like when I first saw the Tonto synthesizer, I was like, people actually got music out of that damn thing. Oh my God, it was like literally a wall to wall computer. Like the synthesizers, like these little MIDI keyboards that we have now, like this little MIDI keyboard that I have here that I keep saying I'm going to learn to make beats on. Like you can actually make music out of this, but think about this, and it's attached to a wall of like, sounds and knobs and switches and gizmos and gadgets. It's incredible. Like they actually literally had to sit down and program this MF step by step by step by step. And Stevie, of course, not having the gift of sight, they probably had to tune this thing to make sure, the braille and all that. I mean, he had to be his ears were really had to be locked in to get the sounds that he wanted. And Bob and Malcolm had to listen to him to make sure they programmed the sounds that he wanted. Absolutely insane. But yeah, just the instrumentation of Seem So Long. Like there's this nice little sort of like windy synth in the beginning, and then there's down, 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 and it just goes on from there. I mean, there's not much other instrumentation in that other than maybe a high, maybe a cymbal or two. But yeah, this is pretty much Stevie laying his soul bare, his 21-year-old soul bare that, yes, I was married, I was in love with this woman, it didn't last. This sucks. I don't know if I want to do this again, but if I do, you're going to have to dig deep to find out all the things you want to find out about me. Make it worth my while to open up and be vulnerable. And that's an interesting perspective from a dude who is probably the most vulnerable songwriter from a romantic standpoint of his generation, of any generation for that matter. But just listening to that song, you get the sense that this dude was destined for great things. And then, of course, he would go on to write such tour de forces as Ribbon in the Sky, Golden Lady. And yes, I just called to say I love you in there for the people who were going to get on my case about me saying that song. I can't stand that song. But yeah, I just called to say I love you. So many other great romantic. I mean, Stevie's love bag is deep. We'll get, like I said, we'll get into that in an entire episode. But I wanted to talk about Seems So Long today because I think that's one that flies below the radar when we talk about Stevie from a romantic standpoint. People always just think of Stevie as like this happy, as joyous, oh God, I'm so in love with this woman. Everything is perfect. And then there's the parts of Stevie's catalog where it's like, whew, love hurts. Word to Jalen, love hurts. But it's a great, great song. I highly recommend you check it out if you haven't already. And if you have heard Seems So Long by Stevie Wonder, what are your thoughts? Does it rank high on his love song catalog for you? Is it something that you don't think much about? Or is it something that you're discovering now? It's like, wow, Chris, you're right. Let's talk about it in the comments. We'd love to know. So that's going to do it for this ride on the Groove Line. Greatly appreciate y'all. As always, contact information will be in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe, tap that notification bell. And don't forget, Friday, our Stevie Wonder, closeout. We're going to rank the classic period albums 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Get your popcorn ready for this one. It's going to be fun. So thank you guys for riding with me on the Groove Line. And until the next time we ride, may you find the groove, or may the groove find you.